What does the acronym MOM stand for, and how does it affect crime writing?
Yes, so in the crime writing, the acronym MOM stands for means, opportunity, and motive. So how does your criminal gain the means to commit a crime? So if they're killing somebody with a knife, where do they get the knife from? How do they bring it to wherever? Or if it's a gun or whatever, or if they're drowning someone, how do they, where are they doing that? I know it sounds simple, but you do have to orchestrate that. What are the means to committing this crime? And then opportunity is simply like a criminal needs to have access to a victim. So how is that access given, granted? How does it happen? And so that needs to be thought through. So, are they neighbors or people who work together? Is it two spouses? Again, just what is, and, there's like us, people don't always have access to us. So how would they gain access to us at a time when maybe they shouldn't have or wouldn't necessarily have access to us? So like if we're in a locked vehicle sitting in a parking lot, we should be pretty safe, right? But we think, how could somebody gain an opportunity to access us? Well, they could break the window, they could pop the tires, they could, jimmy the door, but however. So that's opportunity. There has to be an opportunity for that access. And then motive is the biggie, I think, and that's just why. What is the reason behind this crime? And I always, when I'm teaching this, I'm like, okay, what's the motive? A wife kills a lover. Okay. Or a woman kills a lover. What's the reason? Why did she do it? Oh, she was jealous. Okay. That's a starting point. That's the surface. Let's go beyond that. Well, why is she jealous? Oh, well, I don't know. He was cheating on her. We'll just go with a very cliche. Well, why was he cheating on her? If she's so great, why was he cheating? Well, she cheated on him. Oh, well, why did she cheat on him? Oh, well, because, and then we keep going deeper, deeper, deeper. We go all the way back to childhood if we have to, because sharp objects, all that stuff that happened stems way back to things that happened to her as a child. And so that's the motive. That's the building of the motive for the crime. And the deeper and more layered and intricate you get, that will help you really quickly inform the rest of your story. And will help you really quickly work through that second act, which is always a challenge, because you'll know so much about why a person committed a certain crime. And because a lot of crimes are done in the heat of the moment. Some are premeditated, but it's this book I was telling you about, I believe it's called The Patient, we're following the killer. You go back into his history so much and find out, and the victim's history, and you find out why he actually did this. So that by the end, you're like, wow, I'm really sympathetic towards him. I get why he did that. And that's what you want, right? You want that deeper understanding of the crime and the criminal, and yeah.
How does setting affect mystery? You talked earlier about a small town.
Yes. I love setting. For me, I almost think that comes first, more so than character or even the crime. Oh man, this is such a cool place. Well, what if there was a murder here? Or I think setting can be its own character. I mean, Knives Out, right? That setting is its own character, that whole place. Breaking Bad, that desert setting, that small town is its own character. In Sharp Objects, that town is its own character. The Crawdads, where are the Crawdads? That setting of the marsh is its own character, and it lends itself to the crime and how she was able to gain means and opportunity to kill and dispose of her victim. And even what the marsh taught her about how to live in the marsh so that she could get away with it. So I think it can be entirely its own aspect to the story.
What kinds of characters best fit into a mystery?
Really, again, I'll just go back to like, it can be any type of character. The important thing is to give them really great motive. Really spend time in the character development. Because I found at first, when I started doing this genre, I was very much a plotter, and I was like, it was all about the plot and like getting all the trails of evidence right and making it this like really interesting, weird, twisty murder, or just making sure that the murder just made sense, right? And that the trails of evidence made sense, and that the protagonist could find them all, and like tying, like a big jigsaw puzzle, pinging the pieces together. And then I quickly realized through feedback that wasn't near enough. That was interesting to a point, but it didn't make it competitive. It didn't make it binge-worthy. It didn't make it sellable. And that's where we want to be, right? We want to be sellable. And I started to see that while that was all very important to know that, to be authentic in your forensics and be authentic in your crime telling and authentic in your detectives and what they do and your protagonists and how a crime is investigated, what people are left with more than that, and obviously me too, obviously as a viewer and a reader, you're left with who were those people, who were those characters. And that's when I had to kind of, all right, bump the next step, next level writing, and really start paying more attention to the emotional journey and hero's journey arcs of my characters. And that's where motive and really developing deeper level characters, especially if you're writing a series, right? Whether it's a limited series or a series you hope goes on and on, you want to stick with characters that are very interesting and memorable. And so any character will do, but it has to be, any type of person or character, you have to find that thing that makes them memorable and unique. And only you can do that, because we all come from these very different backgrounds and very different, everybody has very different experiences, and we've all lived in different geographic places, and all of that can inform who you create as a character. It's not something anybody can give you or teach you or tell you. You have to start digging into your own experiences to help you create those characters.
And what is a red herring, and how does it factor into mysteries?
Mm-hmm. A red herring is simply a thing that doesn't pan out. So an investigator's like, oh, I've got this, this fingerprint. I'm going to chase after that. And they go and they chase after it, and they find, oh no, actually it's just the next door neighbor, and she was home with the kids and she has an alibi. So that's an example of a red herring. It's just a piece of evidence that just, takes you in the wrong direction for a second and then doesn't pan out.
So it wouldn't be characters, because I was thinking about some of the characters, all of them there were 5 and they all had their own motives, but you don't know, we haven't narrowed down who it is yet.
No, it could actually be a character.
Oh, it can.
You think this one character is it, and they turn out to be a red herring. Yeah, so it could be evidence, could be a person, yep.
Okay, great. What about rabbit holes?
Rabbit holes are, we've all been down rabbit holes, and at the end of the rabbit hole, there's just a hole. There's nothing there.
Oh, I see, okay.
No, but in crime writing, you want your investigators to be like little rabbits going after what they think is the right clue, but at the end, they're just a hole. It's nothing. And now they gotta climb out of the hole and they gotta try another trail. So we, just think about how in real life, sometimes if we're on the computer or we're surfing, we end up going down this crazy, I was just looking for shoes and somehow now I'm going to Hawaii. Like, how did that happen?
Right.
So, yeah.
And how much do you like to foreshadow in a story? And what does that mean?
Yeah,
actually?
That's a good question. I don't think about it at all in crime writing. That's funny. I think about it in drama writing, but that's fun. Funny question. Good question. I don't think about foreshadowing at all in crime writing.
What is foreshadowing?
I mean, to me, it's you're sort of layering a hint of something to come. And I'm just thinking about all like other crime writing books or things that I don't think we talk about it much in this genre because you don't want to do that necessarily. Like you don't want to give us a hint about something that's to come. You want to constantly trick us or take us down make us think we're going this way when actually it's over here. So I think it's a great literary device, and I definitely use it for that. For more literary, dramatic writing, you definitely want to put foreshadowing and symbols of things, but I don't do it at all. I don't think I use it at all and that I'm aware of. So